Preparation is going great for Magomed. I'm feeling sharp, preparing like a champion. This is a title fight, so I'm just doing everything I can in my power to make sure I live, breathe, and train like a champ. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, speaking of training like a champ, obviously you're training with your brother. So how big of a help has been Cade this time?
You know what? It always helps to train with my brother. Ever since we were 3 years old, we were training together. And anytime we're apart, I feel like our jiu-jitsu gets worse. So it's always good to have my brother around. And yeah, he's a one champion himself. So he given me some tips. We both been giving each other, a lot of tips together because we've been experiencing all these fights, for the first times. And there's a lot to experience with this one. It's not just like any other promotion. There's a whole lot to it. So it's starting to feel more normal, and it's always nice to have my brother in the corner. So ready to
Yes,
go.
speaking of Cade, you've mentioned in your previous interviews that he's a, been a he's like a hothead when you train. He gets pissed
Yeah.
off easily. So when you train him for his fights, how much do you antagonize him?
That's pretty good. That's a good question. I'd say we both antagonize each other a lot. That's just the life of a twin for sure. It's your best friend and your worst enemy. But at the end of the day, we're always there for each other. So even all the antagonizing, all the button pushing, a lot of it's just to get a reaction in a sense where like that's kind of what we want out of each other is to get mad, because in the competition, that's what you need to do sometimes, right? Sometimes a lot of it's up here, a lot of it's mental, and the one who wins is the one who's has more alpha in him. So my brother and I, we're always trying to alpha each other. It's pretty funny. We're always in like a constant competition, keeping each other on check.
Yeah, speaking of Magomed, he's a fellow BJJ black belt. But since he's from Dagestan, there's always that sense that he's a very tough wrestler. So how do you plan on taking on that Dagestani grappling style?
Yeah, for sure, he's gonna be tough. I know secret they have good wrestling over there, and I'm not gonna take anything different than what I normally do. Every time I fight, my game plan doesn't really change too much. It's take down, pass, and submit. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure I take him down. If I don't, and I gotta change up the game plan, then we're gonna be seeing buggy chokes from the back and all the crazy submissions that I can fire from the guard. But for the most part, my plan is to dominate and to put on a show. So I'm gonna go take down, pass, and submit. We'll see whatever it takes to get around his wrestling. I'm gonna find a window and gonna go head to head.
Yeah, with Magomed being a wrestler, what's the biggest difference in facing off against guys like him, guys like Dagi,
Mm-hmm.
who have this kind of grind out wrestling style compared to fighters who are pure BJJ fighters who frequent
Yeah.
the ADCC?
One thing that I've noticed more about the wrestling style is that they generally like to play a more conservative game, and that's one thing that I prefer not to fight against, right? I prefer to fight against someone that likes to come at me, head first, and that's when I find my windows. So even with my last match with Dagi, I felt like he was trying to play a pretty conservative game. He's a bit closer to my size though, so I was able to get him where I wanted him. So with Magomed, I know he's a little bit bigger than me for sure, but he's not crazy big. So even if he does decide to play a more passive and safe game, I'm confident in my abilities to be able to close the distance and find the submission. That's what it's all about. That's all I care about.
Yeah, you just mentioned weight. So how's your weight right now? You started your one career at lightweight. You're moving up to welterweight right now.
Yes, sir. I'm moving up. I'm probably right at 185 right now. So I'm right on weight. I feel great, not having to cut any weight. I'm hydrated. I feel strong. Life's good right now. I got nothing to complain about. I'm ready for the fight to come. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so can you tell us more about your advantages over Magomed? Do you think your one experience will play a big factor in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, if someone has never competed on one before, there's a lot that you don't really expect, right? There's a lot that you're not ready for. Even the sign behind the scenes, the media, right? The hydration test, right? So it's a professional organization, like into the biggest, the highest of the highest, So a lot of people who haven't competed on platforms like this are for sure gonna see some, some new things. They're not gonna be maybe quite as comfortable. I'm gonna expect the best version of my opponent no matter what, always, So yeah, I'm for sure, he's gonna, find some difficulty come, but no worries. I'm expecting the best, version of my opponent.
Yes, speaking of the best version of Magomed, do you expect him to go right at you at the opening bell? And do you think you can play off that aggression and employ your own game plan against him?
I sure hope so. I really hope he comes at me. And if that's the case, then it's on. I just want to go head to head and then lock horns. If he's gonna be more passive and more safe, then I'm gonna have to even go forward even harder. But when someone comes at me, that means it's on, and then my counterattacks are coming.
Yeah, speaking of those aggression and aggressive attacks, when did you and your twin brother decide that your BJJ style won't feature a lot of guard pulling and instead just slam your opponents to the ground?
Yeah. I think when my brother and I, probably two reasons. I'll say two reasons. Number one is because my brother and I, we first finding girls, we started liking girls. We realized I don't want to be on bottom, make us look bad, You got big guys on top. So then we want to be on top, look good. But and also too, it's tiring playing guard. It's hard to be on bottom. When someone's on top, they have gravity on their side and you're engaging your core. You're for sure gonna have some attacks, but if you don't get them, then your opponent's gonna be able to put more pressure and pace usually. So my brother and I, we've always liked to take down, pass, and submit, and we did play a good guard game back in the day, but we realized this top level, it's important to be on top, to take down, pass, and submit. And you see a lot of our opponents that were really just solely leg lockers, like Nicky Ryan. A lot of the guys that we fought are now adapting and doing the same. They're all becoming very talented wrestlers, and that's just the way jiu-jitsu works. You got to evolve.
Yeah, you're now an IBJJF champ, a chance to become a one champion. Can you talk about the magnitude of this fight for you?
100%. This is a huge opportunity for me. I've been trying to get the belt for, ever since I saw my brother get it, quite frankly. And I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity. One created the division, and I have a great opponent, and I'm grateful and I'm prepared. It's on. This is a huge deal. I'm on the biggest platform possible for jiu-jitsu, about to get the biggest title, so I'm just I'm just overwhelming feeling of gratitude. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to perform.
Yeah, so has your brother prodded you about getting your own belt, getting your own one belt?
Yeah, I was telling him like, dude, I might have to come down and take yours, dude. Like, they don't, especially a couple times my brother we fought and maybe he didn't get the bonus, So every time he didn't, I was like, man, I for sure would have subbed that guy. But so we're always so competitive, but uh, yeah, he's for sure, he's been wanting me to get the belt, and everything happens for a reason, So the time has come, and I'm ready to, to take it.
Yep. This few next few questions aren't about your fight, but what you did after your fight, after your last fight, because you've trained with Superbon and Trainer Gay in Bangkok after your fight against Daggy. So how was it? How was it gaining and training with those two guys?
Man, was so sick. I was always a fan of Super Bond, watching him. So to get over and train with him and Trainer K too. Man, I never experienced something like that. I'll be honest. I did some Muay Thai back home, in California, but it's completely different, going to the roots, going to the source. I remember my manager, he looked over, he was hitting the mitts with one of the coaches, and he looked over and Trainer K has me on my toes, only 1 foot, super high up, and he has my other leg in his hand and he's just making me balance on my toes and I'm just sweating bullets curling, and I'm like, dude, just put my leg down. I'm like, and he's like, no, you're not getting it, he was amazing, Trainer K, and also Super Bond, the hospitality that those guys have and also the level at which they work. It was just really rad to see. It's always good to see, that saying, never meet your heroes, but like when they turn out to be super cool guys, and very hospitable like that, it's just, I'm super stoked. So that was a rad experience. So thank you to those guys. Yeah, I'm ready to get some more training and to got me all fired up for some Muay Thai.
Yes, Superbon is now fighting Tawan Chai in December. How
Mhm.
excited are you for that fight?
Oh, I can't wait. Before I got signed to one, I was never watching too much Muay Thai. And now that I've been signed to one, I've been, watching all the fights, all the cards, and becoming a huge fan of it. And this fight, oh my God, is gonna be so unreal. I think it's got the potential to be probably one of the biggest ones of the year for sure. And I'm so excited to see it. I'm rooting for Super Bond. That's my dog right there. He's the homie. But big fan of Taiwan Chai too. I just want to see a good match. Unreal.
Yeah, another pair of strikers will main event your card, Fabricio Andrade versus Jonathan Hagerty. How do you see that fight playing out? And are you gonna watch since you're already in the venue?
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure it's after my match, so I'll definitely make sure to get in the back and watch it after. Man, I'm excited. I don't know how it's gonna go. I really don't. They both have a lot of power in their hands. And I know Jonathan's he's the best of the best right now at what he does, right? And then so is Fabricio. So anytime you get to see the best of the best going at it with each other, I don't know what to expect. Yeah, I couldn't even give you an answer if I wanted to. I want to see a good fight.
Yeah, just final one, Ty. Um, who's been the biggest help for you during this training camp? Apart from Kate, and
Mhm.
what can we expect from you? Is a submission coming?
Yes, sir. I just want to always my team Atos helps me get ready for all my matches, and I'm so grateful for my professor Andre. He's always been like a father to my brother and I. So first and foremost, thank you to him and my team Atos. And yeah, aside from that, there's been nothing too out of the normal. The ocean's been helping me get ready, the weights in the weight room and my professors. I'm ready to go and I'm all fired up. It's on.
All right. Thanks so much, Ty, and of course, good luck in your fight and stay safe out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
Good day.
man.
Yes, sir.